back down on the hollows this afternoon, and we're just putting the garden to bed. I just went and got another load of rabbit manure from my rabbit manure guy. If you got one of those, you got it made when you're gardening. Good stuff for growing vegetables. But as you can see, everything is cleared out. As you can see, everything is cleared out of the garden. I've got my, you can see over here, right here, my asparagus this is year 2. I've let it go to seed to help develop the roots a little more. And I've got, where is it? One more cabbage right there. Other than that, the garden is completely cleaned out, hauled off, topped with a little bit of chicken manure, rabbit manure, and some leaves. And that's how they'll stay throughout the winter. And then in the spring, I'll cultivate them up and plant new stuff. I learned a valuable lesson today. I was watching a fellow YouTuber who's been at it way longer than I have. And I might have more experience, but he's a lot younger and he's been at this YouTube thing longer than I have. He put out a survey about people that are trying to at least produce a little bit of their own food. Even a little bit, up to like 75%, even 100%. Whatever you can do. That's his motto, that's my motto. That's what this is all about for me as well. So I was watching that video, and he sent out a survey to all his subscribers on what they do to provide for their family, what they do the most of. And he broke it down, and to my surprise, the number one thing was meat. People are raising their own meat, which I thought vegetables would far outweigh meat, but it makes sense. Especially when you start talking about Cornish cross chickens, you know, in an 8-week turnaround, you've got a lot of protein that you can raise with very minimal effort. They are messy, they are stinky, the processing isn't pleasant, but for the bang for your buck, Cornish cross chickens, I think, are probably the number one meat producer for us homesteaders, us part-time homesteaders, even up to full-time homesteaders. The second meat was beef, which I thought was really surprising, given that I don't have enough land or pasture or space or the zoning requirements to raise beef where I'm at. I don't think most people do, but I guess there's a lot that wade in, that live in the Midwest or live somewhere where they've got actual acreage of farmland to raise their own beef. Number 3 was pork. And then, you know, the other things kind of fell into place. Some people like goats, rabbits, on quail, on down the line to all the different kind of meats you can raise on a homestead. So to my surprise, meat was the number one thing people raised to be self-sufficient. So thanks to Homesteady for these facts that I'm borrowing. Number 2 is vegetables. So vegetable garden. When it comes to vegetable garden, I'm always game and I'm always down for trying something new. However, I learned a very valuable lesson this year. There's certain things I don't eat. There's certain things my family doesn't eat. So why did I grow them? I don't know why I grew them. Okra is a great example. I don't care for okra personally. You do, that's great. I could have hooked you up this year big time. But I grew a bunch of okra that I never ate. I never even tried any. I sold some at the farmer's market, but other than that, it just pretty much went to waste. Another thing for me that I think is a waste of time for me personally is lettuce. Lettuce just doesn't produce, I mean, it produces, but it doesn't produce a real nutritious addition to your diet. So next year, no lettuce. I am going to have her grow kale. I'm going to grow spinach. I'm going to grow bok choy because I like bok choy. I am still going to grow cabbage, even though my success mainly benefited the chickens this year. I'm still going to grow cabbage. Another valuable lesson I learned this year. I kind of learned it last year with the Burbank russet potatoes. They didn't do really good in my climate, in my growing medium, whatever. They just didn't do very well. I tried it again this year, same results. It just didn't turn out good for me. So going back to the basics, red Pontiac potatoes, Yukon Gold, those are my potato varieties that I'm growing next year. Tomatoes. I grew San Marzanos and Romas this year. I've grown them before, but I didn't realize the difference. I did comparisons with my beefsteak tomatoes and the Romas and the San Marzanos, and the flavor just isn't there for me. It's a great paste tomato, But for me personally, for what I use them for bottling and for fresh eating, San Marizanos and Romas are not going to be in my garden next year. It's all going to be beefsteak, Moscows, and of course cherry tomatoes. I've got to have cherry tomatoes somewhere. That's my go-to. So even though I like to experiment, I'm going to cut way back on my experimentation next year. Who knows? Whatever pops out in a seed catalog. I might plant 1 or 2 containers, but I'm not going to do 10 or 12 containers anymore. So we'll go through a quick tour. You can see my hybrid willows. This is a mulberry tree that the frost hit last night. I've got a couple of mulberry trees to maybe sell at the farmer's market, and then these fast-growing trees that turn into that in 5 years. So that's what all these cans are. And then, as you see, all my potato pots are all filled, ready to go, topped off, ready to marinate through the winter, and I'll grow my potatoes here. Down here in these in-ground pots is going to be my butternut squash area. Found out this year I really like butternut squash. So that's what these 3 pots will be. Along this, it's a north fence, but gets a lot of sun. This is going to be my tomatoes. From that little pot all the way down here is all going to be tomatoes. They need lots of sun. They love sun. In these pots, I'm going to grow zucchinis. That marigold will go away eventually. And what else was I going to grow? Oh, my beans. I'm going to put my beans in here, let them climb vertically. On this back fence, if you can see through my wire, that back fence, this end gets a lot more sun than that end. However, this is where my cucumbers are going to go. So I'm a big garden nerd, and I had to stop and get my cheat sheet. I actually wrote out what I'm planting where, because I kind of forgot already. But over here, those 2 big containers in the corner where they get a lot of sun, that's going to be my purple sweet potatoes. If you've watched a documentary about people that live to be 100 or more, centenarians they call them in this documentary, on the island of Okinawa, Japan, they rely mostly on purple sweet potatoes. And there's a correlation between these sweet potatoes and the overall health and longevity of these Okinawans. So I'm not going to argue with that. It's been proven it works, so I'm going to keep growing those. I had fairly good success this year. If you go back and watch a video a week or so ago, it explained my harvest. But I'm all in. It worked. It worked better than I thought, so I'm gonna go for that next year and grow. Another thing I'm gonna grow next year is I'm gonna grow more beets. I grew a few this year. I really like beets. I like eating the beet greens. So I'm gonna dedicate some of these pots up here that are kind of on the shady side of my upper terrace to beets. And I think that should keep it fairly simple. What I'm growing, I'm gonna grow the stuff I like. I'm gonna grow the stuff that produces. In my climate. Some other things I'm going to grow, if you've watched any of my past videos, you know that around my fruit trees at the top of the hollow right here, I plant my onions around those fruit trees. So I'm going to do that again. I probably will plant more onions out front like I did this year as well. I took out all that Russian sage. All those sunflowers will not be back. I'm going to pull them just to create a better growing space for onions out in front. I irrigate it anyway. When I irrigate my lawn, I might as well be growing something. So I've got my garlic planted out there already. The onions will go in out there, and I found that the deer, at least around here, do not eat spaghetti squash. So they eat zucchini and they eat pretty much everything else, but they don't touch spaghetti squash for whatever reason. So rather than taking up space in my terrace garden, those are going to go out front as well. Then along the hillside, all the way along this hillside, this last year, I planted pumpkins and banana squash. And the overspray from my sprinklers on my lawn took care of those, watered them, got a lot of pumpkins, a lot of banana squash. That worked really well. So I'm going to continue to do that. And then up by my dog kennel, I'll show you that space in a minute here. I didn't grow any peppers this year, and I regret it because I like peppers. My wife likes peppers, especially like those yellow and red sweet ones. She really likes those. So I'm going to dedicate a whole garden bed to just peppers. I'll probably grow some jalapenos and Anaheims, chilies, just a good variety of peppers up there. So I think that has everything pretty much covered for next year. So now we just need the clock to tick, tick, tick away as I look through and kind of thumb through seed catalogs and see what grabs me. But that is the plan going forward. I'm gonna, number one, plant the stuff I eat, the stuff my family eats, and that's what I'm gonna produce the most of. All the surplus we'll sell at the farmer's market like we did this year, and that's fine. But no more growing stuff I don't like, and no more growing stuff that my family doesn't like. So back to the video I watched today from Homesteady, from the good folks at Homesteady YouTube channel. We've talked about meat production, we've talked about vegetable production. The other one, the other big three, is laying chickens. That seems to be like the gateway drug to homesteading. At least that's my opinion. Laying chickens are fairly easy to raise. They're fun to watch. Kids can take care of them. So for me, I'll always have laying chickens. I love the fresh eggs. The difference is very noticeable between store-bought and fresh eggs. Just like store-bought and home-raised chicken and pork and beef and everything else you grow at your home or your homestead or your apartment or wherever you grow is going to be 100 times better than anything you can get down at the grocery store. So that's my plan going forward. So for now, we're going to let fall and roll with the punches here. Take care of the dogs. We still have our pigs to take care of. We're going to go out, feed them. Hopefully we'll take their last ton of feed to them tomorrow. I'll take you along for that adventure as well. And we got the chickens pretty well prepared for winter. We got the little chickens. Hi Stella, how are you? We got the little chickens integrated with the big chickens. I got rid of my old laying hens. Some guys came, were happy to have those, so they've moved on. I don't know if they moved on to lay more eggs or to the stew pot, but that's okay. They're chickens now. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. Let me explain my my theory about gardening and the information that I learned from a fellow YouTuber today that I thought was pretty valuable and pretty interesting because it actually did shock me. So until next time, take care of yourself wherever you are in the world. Click subscribe, thumbs up, keep watching. I appreciate the support. We just cleared over 800 subscribers. I never thought that would happen, but here we are in this little project that my son motivated me to help participate in. I'm glad he did. It's been fun and I've enjoyed it, and passed on my experiences. Hopefully they help or entertain or whatever. But until next time, take care of yourself and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.